What's up, guys? We are Past the Pop Culture. My name is Ricky with my co-host here, Mr. Fen.
Howdy.
And we mainly are just going to be having like the Marvel Ant-Man episode today, but we do want to get one thing in kind of quickly because we saw the Tetris trailer, and I know we kind of dogged on it. Like, what was it like? Honestly, like a month ago,
Yeah, maybe a month
or
ago,
was it?
yeah.
Oh, was it like a week ago or so? When they're like, "Hey, we're making a Tetris movie," and I'm like, "Okay, cool. Like, you're just gonna have the blocks falling from the sky." Like, I thought it was gonna be kind of like, remember that Adam Sandler movie, like Pixels
Oh
or whatever it was?
God,
You know,
imagine.
where they had all that. I thought it
Yeah.
was gonna be something like that. So, but no. I was like, oh, it's a documentary essentially, or not a documentary, I should say. It's like it's a telling of how the Tetris game was made. It's like dramatic and everything. It looks super cool. Is that the guy from the Kingsman?
Yes,
Who's
correct.
gonna be the main
Mm-hmm.
guy?
Yep.
Yeah, Cause yeah, okay, yeah. So no, that is him, and then there's a few other people in there as well. But essentially, it's on. Is it Apple TV, Apple Plus? I don't know. They
Apple,
always
yeah, Apple Plus, whatever it's
Apple
called.
Plus TV. I don't know. I could never get it right for whatever reason. But anyways, I'm probably gonna watch it. We probably will drop a review on that.
Yep.
Because that one definitely looks super interesting to me because I like the history of games and stuff like that. And it's like this is like a really like weird and rare like occurrence, I guess. Like they usually don't make movies about how a video game got made, right? Like it's
Yeah.
kind of a weird thing. So it looks pretty awesome though. I don't know if anyone's familiar with like I think his name's the gaming historian. He did like a video on it,
Mhm.
and it showed a lot of people like the backstory of how Tetris was made, and I thought it was really interesting. I watched it a long time ago, so I only remember some of like the larger things that happened in the
Mhm.
in these events, but it was really cool. I thought it was interesting. I was like, wow, this is really weird how Tetris got made. And it really was a lot of like backdoor dealing, like, yes, we'll do this for you, but they're like, oh no, we haven't even gotten the rights yet, but we're gonna give them anyways. And then it's like all these things, and then the Russian government got involved and
Yeah, I
all these
was like,
things were happening. Like it was pretty
that's
crazy in real
weird.
life.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like, oh yeah, like so I'm glad that it's being told because it was pretty
Mhm.
cool, but yeah. So I'm looking forward to that one. When it comes out, I can't remember it off the top of my head, but
March
it's
24th,
yeah. And then
maybe.
so I mean that sounds reasonable to me. So yeah, we'll be talking about that definitely because that's something interesting.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're gonna flip to the exact opposite. We're gonna talk about Ant-Man. It was kind of
Uh,
trash. I think we're gonna get that out of the way.
mhm.
It is so cookie cutter, and I felt insulted watching it. I felt like I just
Well,
paid a ticket to go watch the same movie 3 times in a row. Uh, Love and Thunder was the same thing, right?
jeez.
Oh,
Okay.
something bad happens, villain shows up, people get suppressed and oppressed, and now we have to rise up. Everybody, heroes here, rise up. Okay, we beat him. Woo! And it's like
Oh, jeez.
it's
Well, if
the
you put it
same
that
thing.
way.
They literally did the same movie like a handful of times now, and
Okay.
it's like it's so I feel so like upset because it's like Ant-Man's a cool character. Paul Rudd's really good. Um, but they it's ants, right? Like there's something cool we can do here, right? And the whole
Mhm.
thing was just like, oh yeah, cool. They made this like giant crazy tech civilization. We're
For
not
like
gonna really
1,000
talk about
years.
it though.
Yeah.
We're not gonna talk about it, go delve deeper into what they were doing.
Nope.
But yeah, I just know that there's like a huge like race of ants now that are like far surpassed like the intelligence of like humans. And
Mhm.
then they're gonna come in, they're gonna destroy some stuff, but that's all we're gonna hear from it. That's all we're gonna care about it,
Mhm.
right? And then it's like Kang, my boy, they did my boy Jonathan wrong. Like he was so good, and then they made Kang like just the biggest wimp ever. Like halfway through the movie, it's like okay, he's menacing, and it's like oh, so like he just conqueror of worlds here, a destroyer, eliminator of timelines, and it's like I got the same 3 moves, my guy, and it's like
I mean,
I did.
yeah.
I
Holy
was like,
cow.
really? Like I was like, they did them so dirty in this movie, and they've been doing that to the villains for a long
Mm-hmm.
time. They've been doing that, but especially like this movie, you had God Butcher, right?
Yep.
Like I was like, oh, these are some cool threats. Like even to Thanos to a certain degree, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
he was pretty powerful, and then they kind of just had to nerf him a little bit for the heroes to like actually beat
To
him,
win, yeah.
and and that's what like I don't like is when they do that. Is like, oh, they're super menacing and powerful, but we beat them anyways because of plot devices, right? Like I was just like, just the whole time, like at least they didn't do the thing where it's like, they had the kids with all the superpowers and they all rose up and they're like, yeah. It's like at least they didn't do like that,
Imagine it was
but
kid
still,
ants.
yeah, like, but still, it was kind of like, are you serious, dude? Like, this is the last. I just watched this movie a few months ago. Like, that's how I kind of feel like it's so recycled and rehearsed, and I feel like the actors just like cashed it in. They were just like they just showed up. Like, I didn't really feel like there was passion to the movie or anything. It
Yep,
was
I was
just
gonna
like
say that. Mm-hmm.
they just clocked in and we're like, all right, let's get this done. How many more movies do I have in my contract? That's what I felt from the entire cast. No one was excited to be there. It was like
Well,
like
I
everyone
mean,
just
I
phoned
think
it
everyone
in.
but Majors, right? Like, or King, sorry. I think again, I don't know
Dude, it's
how.
like
Why?
it's the
Why do they
same
have
thing they
these
did
really
with
good
Christian Bale.
actors?
It's the
Yeah,
same thing they did with
exactly.
Christian Bale.
I
It's like they
hate
get
it.
good actors and they're like, yes, we're gonna put them on the like sidelines, not really
Yeah.
have them do like anything super cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then but like they look cool like at the beginning, and then they're like, okay, that's it. Like we can't have them be any more crazier than that. You have
Yeah.
to like lower the performances here. And it's just like like it just felt so lame. Cause I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, we're in the quantum realm. Oh really? What's in the quantum realm? Oh well, don't worry about that. Like just focus on the main story. No world building. There's hardly any
Okay, so
world
yeah, you
building.
felt that way too. I hated that. Like they just showed up, and then it's like, wait, why is the quantum realm like this? You know what? We'll tell you later. And then, oh, by the way,
And
there's a bad guy. Or like, oh, okay, who are these
I
people?
think the worst part for me is the plot tells you directly through the mom, no, we're not talking about it. We're gonna
Oh
keep
my
going.
god, yeah.
And it's like that was like them telling us, like, no, like we're not gonna explore this. Like we have a universe within the universe, right? Like
Yep.
something kind of cool here. We have these ants far surpassing the technology that we have as humans and intelligence and stuff like that. And they're just like these plot devices that kind of like
They
come
were a
in.
2-second clip saying, "Hey, this is what happened to them. All right, this is why they're good now. All right, ready?"
Yeah, like they just moved things along because they couldn't like figure out what to do, so they just used them and then
Yeah.
they just threw them away. Like, okay, there's all these like creatures. How they get created? Why are they here?
Mm-hmm.
Even oh, I can't remember the guy's name, the original Ant-Man, where he was like, oh well, this changes the whole understanding of the universe and
Exactly.
life and
Yeah.
evolution. And then they're just like,
Anyways.
yeah, but who cares? Like it's not gonna have any impact because like
Mm-hmm.
the next movie they're gonna be like, oh yeah, the quantum realm exists. Oh okay, cool, the little quantum realm and blah blah blah, and then everyone's gonna like, okay, yeah, no one's gonna care,
Yeah.
and then everyone's like, the quantum realm? Anybody? We're gonna talk about this? No, no, forget about the little quantum realm. Who cares? And then it's like, what? It's like it's like that's how I feel like we
Okay.
have something cool here, guys. It's like, nope, we're not gonna do anything. I hope they change their minds and they do something with it.
I
But
don't think they
it's
will.
like it's like, oh, it was literally just there to introduce Kang, and it's like they killed that Kang, and then be like, oh yeah, but don't worry about that one. We have the multiverse of Kangs, right? Like, so it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, cool. And it's like, okay, like
Yeah.
what are we waiting for now? Like, okay, like the movie wasn't necessary then. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, like
Literally,
hey,
because what?
it
Because
literally
Kang's already gone.
the whole movie existed just to set up the post credit scenes. That's all it did.
Yeah.
The whole
Mm-hmm.
movie exists just to take your money and to be like, hey, yeah, something you may actually want to watch. Yeah, we're setting up for that. And it's like, well, thanks,
Thanks for
It's
having me
like,
waste my 2 free tickets. Is what I was saying.
yeah, and it's like, I feel so bad. I mean, I hope they really do Kang better than this, right? Like,
I
I
find it
don't know.
hard to believe that him like being such a good actor, he has to. I know as he was like heavily persuaded by money and like a 1,000 movie deal, but like he could do better than this. I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't think this he shouldn't be Kang if all the Marvel movies are gonna be this bad. I feel very bad for him. Is all I'm saying. I
Well,
feel
it's like
really bad.
Christian Bale, bro. Like, yeah, like they told him to turn it down
Yeah.
because it's too scary, and
Yeah,
it's
you're too
like,
good.
bro, it's like we have like these super high. Like the problem is like they're getting like these super high level villains
Mhm,
that normally are not just like throwing in, right?
mhm.
They're not low level street thugs.
Yeah.
It's like they're putting some high level boys. Like I thought it was interesting though that they got Modoc, right, and then they just killed him, right? Like they're
Oh
bringing these
my
people
gosh.
in. Same thing with Fisk, right?
Don't even get me started.
And then they just like, oh yeah, he's dead, and it's just like what? It's like they bring in these cool guys, they kill them off, or they bring in this like super high level guys, and they just make them super weak, and then like if he destroyed entire timelines, I'm sorry, Ant-Man in a fist fight is not gonna win. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, like it's not happening. He's like, how many Avengers have I killed? They all blur
I
together.
know.
And then and then
Yeah.
he's like, oh,
Oh yeah,
fist
have
fight?
some
Yeah.
power of friendship.
Yeah. And it's like, don't get me wrong, it's a cool scene. It's kind of like, all right, buddy, like you didn't use your powers once. I mean, I get it. Maybe it was like a mano kind of thing. Like you kind of had to win the fight, fisticuff kind of
Sure.
thing. But I was like, oh my gosh, like no laser beam, no nothing, like no. I was like, okay. I was like he could have won the fight, just been going, okay, all right, literally
Smash the
squash him
ant.
like
Yeah.
a bug.
Yeah.
And it was like he was literally gonna do that to him early in the movie. What happened to that power? He just
Yeah.
decided not to use it. And it was like, okay, come on now. Like I understand there has to be some sort of suspension of reality, of course, when it comes to these things. And like, yes, sometimes the villains are not gonna make the smartest moves ever. But it was like, really, man, like it was kind of like
Hmm.
this is Kang. He's
This-
like we're really just gonna. I don't know. I just felt like hopefully when it comes to the multiverse versions of himself, they're a
Mhm.
lot more menacing and more powerful. Because I was like, we're supposed to make him look a little more powerful than Thanos, right? Like he's supposed to wipe
Yeah.
out the entire timeline and the entirety of the
Yeah.
universes, right? Like that's how they're setting him up in this universe. I'm like, dude, if Ant-Man can just like and the Wasp can just like pew 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 him a little bit, and then yeah, it's like, come on, like I understand, like they can't make them super powerful, but
Why
at the
not
same time,
though?
it's like because then the heroes would lose all the time because
That's
you would need
okay.
like you would have to make every single movie an Avengers movie, right?
What's
Like
wrong with that?
it's
I don't know.
it's like they got to have their little solo movie. But I was like, I don't know. It's like if maybe the main villain was just Modoc only, it probably would have been fine.
No, I hated that
Some,
so much.
but I thought it was interesting
Uh,
how they
what?
killed him off so quickly, and it was like the cringiest scene ever. Where he's
Okay,
like, "Imagine Avengers,
I
right?"
almost walked away. I almost walked. I wanted to leave. Like when he's like, when she's like, "Oh, just don't be a dick anymore," and he's like, "But look at me, I am a dick." And I was like, "I can't. I'm done." I was like,
It's
uh,
yeah.
it's real. I've never felt like leaving a Marvel movie in my life, and that one line, oh my god. I don't know. Bonak didn't translate very well from comics to real life. It just scared me kind of with the stretched
Yeah,
out
but
face.
I would have preferred that than like just like a wimpy king.
Yeah, that's true.
I
But
was like, he has this massive army, and it's like 10 people just kicking everyone's butt, and it's just like, all
yeah.
right, like okay, we're getting like that's fine, and it's like I'm assuming Kang's gonna just start going all out. Okay, he starts killing all the like extras nobody cares about, and then he's like, we get to the main fight scene. I'm like, no, we're not pulling out the big guns. Like
Mm.
he was pulling them out a little bit earlier,
He forgot his
and that's
powers
kind
or
of that's
something.
yeah, like I don't know. It's just kind of like disheartening. Like really, they like. I mean, like I know Ant-Man's not the most popular or anything like that, and they play into that a little bit.
Yeah,
But it was like you could have given him some like I felt like they wanted the movie to be cool and like to do all these things, but like
it
it
could have
didn't
been.
know tone, right? It was
Hmm.
just like it was such like a back and forth of yes, we have to stop him because if we let him out, the whole universe and time and everything is gonna just be destroyed and he'll be conquer
Yeah,
everything.
it's too
And then
obvious.
they're making like a stupid joke, and it's like, okay, look, we can make the joke later, but it's like you gotta like we got to blend things a little bit better. It's not
Yeah,
such harsh like it's like I feel like now they just really have to be like, oh, we're like I've went like 1 to 3 minutes without a joke. This is bad. We gotta fill that space in with something. Like that's what it kind of felt like. It was just like they're looking at their watch and being like, okay, the formula is do a joke here. Like
yeah.
they couldn't take Modoc's death seriously enough for like 2 seconds because the action didn't have enough jokes in it, so they had to put it there. And it was like,
God,
and
so
like that's what it feels.
stupid.
It's so forced with the jokes, where it's like
Yeah,
the writers clearly are not very good at comedy. Comedy's hard, dude. Like it most likely it won't land. Like that's the thing with jokes. Like most of
yeah.
them won't land,
They made
especially
Paul
if you don't
Rudd
know what you're
suck.
doing. And it's like Paul Rudd has the chops to do comedy and
Hmm.
stuff, but because the way they write it is so terrible, it
Hmm.
just comes off as so like, ugh, like cringe, like you were saying, right? It's like you
Forced,
wanted to
yeah.
leave, where you're just like sitting there, like, oh, the Modoc scene kind of physically hurt. Like
Yes,
it was
it
like,
did.
oh, and then he's like, touching his face like that, and I'm like, dude, it's like,
Oh
it's kind of
God.
like it's fine, I guess, because like if you're, I think there's two ways to look at the movie where it's like you just turn your brain off, fine, sure. But if you're like, oh, I want this to actually advance the story of the MCU and stuff like that, I just think it's like it just didn't do the job. If it's just like you wanted to watch some popcorn and watch something dumb for like 2 hours, I think it does the job. But if you're looking
Mm,
to actually advance and to like have a proper story, it's just not there. I think that's the
yeah.
overall message of it.
Oh, really? I don't even think it's worth watching. Period. Like I did not have fun. I don't know. It's just, it's upsetting because this is the start of the new phase, right?
So this is the first movie in the
Yeah,
new
phase
phase?
five. Yeah, phase five has begun with this movie. So this is where everything is supposed to start. And it's like and like way back in the Iron Man days, they had Thanos, whatever, like scary looming over the universe, and he lasted throughout the whole like whatever years. And then they introduced Kang on Loki, which is like, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. And then
Mhm.
this movie comes out, and it's like, all right, now let's see what he's made of. And then they just kind of kill him off with ants, and it's like, well, and then they're like, oh, by the way, there's like a billion of them. Let's summon them because one of them died for whatever reason, or why was he exiled? I don't know. I don't, it's bad. I feel like maybe if they had a TV show, I hate to say this, a TV show where it's about the mom. Well, I don't remember her name, and like she's exploring, the quantum realm, and then that's how they introduced King, and like how he was like nice or whatever, and then all of a sudden they split off.
Mhm.
Like, why couldn't they have done that and then done this movie?
I don't know. I I don't really know because it's like it's kind of hard to theorize. Like, well, if they just did this and that and blah blah blah,
Hmm.
because I don't really know how this fits into the larger like MCU.
It doesn't.
But yeah, I mean, it's just like, and I don't even know how to word it. It's just like it's just there. The movie's just there, right? Like it's just like if you had the TV show, we could have probably set something up better, but they haven't. They don't really use the TV shows for that too much
Yeah.
outside of like Loki, the ending there. But it was like, like I mean, when I mean setting stuff up, I mean it for like the main events, right, that are
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
occur.
Exactly.
But maybe with like what is it? They have like Secret Invasion, right?
Yeah.
Maybe with that one, we'll finally get something kind of more like when it's like related to like the TV and stuff that maybe it'll set up a mainline thing. But I don't know, like the movie, because everyone was like hyping up the movie, like, okay, we're gonna go in, we're gonna start, is gonna set everything off. We're
Yeah.
gonna really just ram into it. And it's just like, really, dude, like this is what we got? Like,
Yeah. No ramming
eh,
involved.
and
But
I don't
it's
know.
it, it makes you wonder though, right? Like, okay, so
Mhm.
how are they gonna make King, kind of looming over the universe? Like, are they just gonna have a brand new King every single movie?
I don't
Like,
plan on doing it? Because it's like if you're gonna have like an infinite amount of kings just coming in and beating down on everybody,
Mhm.
I don't know. Like
It's like, what's the
I
point though?
don't know
Like,
how they plan on doing this one, right?
uh,
Like I don't know, like I'm pretty sure they're not gonna do like let's send one at a time, right? Like I hope they don't do that. Uh,
I don't know, Ricky.
but I don't know. It seems like a lot of the shows and movies and stuff are gonna
Mhm.
deal kind of like with a particular king, right? Like with like
Yeah, all
Loki,
right, I
right? So
guess.
it's like they have that one right there,
Uh-huh.
and then I think I don't know. It's like because we have jumped through multiverses before, so I'm not sure if it's like this is the way they're gonna introduce some other characters and be like, hey, yo, we need help with our king, and then you see, I don't know, like, if they plan on collapsing all the universes together and
Mhm.
being like, "Oh, this is the main timeline," and then that's how they introduce Fantastic Four, X-Men, like, all the characters
Mhm.
from the other ones. If they make kind of like a just prime mainline universe and there's no more multiverses, or if it's like we're
Mm.
gonna just be going and jumping through multiple universes, which is gonna be kind of hard. So I don't know what they plan on doing because I think honestly we expanded kind of fast
Yeah.
with no like groundwork really because it's like they're like okay multiverse open up but there's like nothing to really like tie things together. They're just like
Mhm.
we're gonna just start doing this and it's like okay cool but then it's like but like I just feel like there's no world building right now for Marvel. Like I feel
Yeah.
like they're like well the Marvel MCU like and we're like well
Wait, you
yeah
don't
but
know?
it's like you're showing us like stuff like quantum realm and these different societies and all that. Oh,
Mhm.
it's Marvel. It's Marvel, man. Like you'll get
You
it.
should
And
know.
it's like, yeah. And it's like, okay, cool, man. But like it'd still be kind of cool to explore a little bit. No, no, man. Like just that's like the whole thing. I feel like they're like, but they're going through it and they're going through it too fast and too slow at the same time where it's like they're doing things where it's like okay setup we're not gonna like put any like groundwork there or anything we're just
Substance,
gonna set it up and then we're gonna move on to the next thing but it's
yeah.
kind of slow on something else and it's like they're putting out a lot of content but whenever they are trying to move things along it's very sparse because they're just like more focused on trying to pump out the movies than to actually set up a storyline. I feel
That's a
like they're
bit
very
true.
loose. I feel like they're very loosely like, well, yeah, we're gonna do Kang, but I feel like they just decided to do that yesterday, and then so they're like, well, here we go. Like it's kind of like that. Like eh, I think that's what it mainly is. It's like it's just being very sloppily tossed together versus like Thanos was like very meticulous. Like, okay, this
Exactly.
is how we're
Mhm.
doing it. This is end credit scene. This here and there. We're setting this up. Blah blah blah.
Mhm.
And then, but I think this. I think they just didn't really have a plan after Thanos, and they really didn't know what they wanted to do. And then most of the actors
I
wanted to
agree to
leave.
that.
And then so they're just kind of scrambling for what to do. And I don't know. It's just kind of all up in the air, which is kind of sad. But hopefully DC will come in and do
That's right.
something finally. I
Well,
feel like that person like with the stick. Come on, do something.
come on, do
Yeah.
something. It's bad.
So
I'm sorry. I can't believe Marvel actually did this. I mean, I can believe it, but it's I don't know. Like I saw somebody review. It was like, yeah, it's like a 5 or whatever, and it's like Marvel's lost its magic, and I think the general audience is now realizing Marvel is no longer the Marvel that we used to know.
yeah,
So I think
it,
it's dead.
it's. I think it's just so focused on getting content out.
Yeah.
Where they're like, we want to introduce this character and this character so we can market them and blah blah blah. And people are sitting here like, okay, well, hold on, like
Let us
I
breathe.
honestly think what they should have done is let Netflix do Daredevil, Punisher, Luke Cage, right? Like they
Hmm.
could have just said, "Hey, do your own thing, ground level. We'll work with you. You can work with these villains here, right? Like you can work with them. They don't have to be part of the greater MCU. We will double dip a little bit. Like we want you to acknowledge stuff that's going on in the MCU.
Yeah.
We'll work together, right? Like it's part of our world, and then like but it's fine. Like
Hmm.
the Defenders can be kind of their own thing, but I think because unfortunately I think maybe Marvel's gone too big, Disney's gone too big, where the bureaucracy of handling all these individual franchises and everything has
Sure.
gone pretty big, and that they're gonna have to try to like be like, okay, who do we trust to kind of do stuff on their own? And like they took it away from Netflix, which I mean, Netflix is a sinking ship, so I can see why now, but
Yeah.
it still would have been nice to be like, okay, the Defenders, the characters for the Defenders, they got their own thing going, right? Like they could have even rebooted that into the main MCU or something, right? Like, but I don't know, like it's it's because they're trying to do everything in house. I think that like it's just a lot to manage. You have like so many dozens of characters, right? At this
Mhm.
point, and then it's like I honestly thought they were gonna maybe potentially kill Ant-Man off, as in like they were just gonna leave him there in the quantum realm,
That would have been nice.
and then they're gonna be like, oh, okay, so they're kind of done with his thing, and then uh like, oh, okay, you know, Ant-Man and the Wasp, they're just gonna live their lives out in the quantum realm, and that's it, right? And like that's kind of like I thought they're gonna tie the tie everything together there that way.
Mhm.
'Cause it's like it just says Kang's going to return. It doesn't say Ant-Man's gonna return or anything. So I think either way they're kind of like done with Ant-Man. I feel like just
Yeah.
the way that they did it was just like, he needs like, you need a third movie to round everything off. And then they did it, and then, it's kind of like how they did Iron Man 3. Remember, everyone was kind of like, well, Iron Man 3 wasn't the best, and it
I
was like, eh,
guess. But so
like
does that
it's
mean
like
Ant-Man's just not gonna help at all?
I don't know. I mean, it seems like it's because the whole movie was like, oh well, I just want to have a normal life, but like now I gotta help. But then it seems like they kind of just sent him back, and it's like they kind of like left him very like ambiguous to be like, well, do we want him to help? Do we not? Like,
Oh.
I think they're gonna leave
So
him there in
Marvel
case
doesn't
they
even
want to
know.
bring him back.
Yeah, they don't even
I
know.
don't know. It just felt very like, yeah, like they just didn't really know what they
Ah,
wanted to
jeez,
do
man.
with him after. I think that's kind of what they kind of set him up to be. We're like, well, if we want to bring him back, we'll bring him back. But like, I don't know how many movies are left in his contract or anything,
Yeah.
So, but it's just like, most of the actors just phoned it in and was like, all right, let's
Get
just
done
get
and
it
over with.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause like the first movie was like, yeah, I'm Ant-Man, this is cool. Like Civil War, at least to some degree,
Mhm.
was like, like people were like kind of excited, like, all right, cool. Like we're these cool characters. But I think it's just like, it's kind of tired, I think, because we're just kind of recycling the same storyline over and over
Mhm.
again for the
Yeah.
past few movies, right? Where it's like bad guy comes in, oppresses the people rise up, the superhero, helps them like rise up, and then they take the place, and then it's like you can do those movies good, but they recycle it and hit the same beats over and over again, and they use the same Marvel formula where it's like, okay, it just feels a little disingenuous to like make these movies. It's like, okay, these are clearly cash grabs, and I think that's the point.
Piece of trash,
But
Marvel.
yeah, I think overall, Ant-Man, poopy. I'm looking
Trash.
forward to the Tetris movie, and I think that kind of wraps everything up.
No.
Our predictions for the MCU though is that it's not going good. I'm just glad that Spider-Man was like good and
Actually, he's
we got
coming
what
back
we
apparently.
wanted. And you know what, dude?
He's supposed to be the
I
lead in this whole universe, by the way. Like the
if
Captain America, I guess. I don't know.
look, that's all I'm saying. Whatever happens to Spider-Man after, I got my movie, right? No Way Home, I got it. I was happy.
I don't want them to spit on him
Okay.
though.
I don't want it either, but it's like I just have to accept it and be like, this was good. I'm
No.
happy enough with this. I'll pretend everything else doesn't exist. That's what I've had to do with The Last of Us 2. Be like, you know what? I had good times with the first one. I'm gonna enjoy the TV show, and then
Last of Us 2 as in the remake of Last of Us 1, right?
yes, that PS5, remaster, remake, and everything. But no,
Oh, jeez.
I don't know. It's just kind of like we have to accept like these things are just not going good.
Marvel's
But
trash.
if you, yeah, but if you enjoyed what we were listening to, what you were listening to today, and very much appreciate if you leave a like and subscribe. If you're on YouTube, if you're on your preferred podcast listening platform, leave a like, Thumbs up, hearts, however it works on there. Drop a good review. Would very much appreciate it. Any support helps. If you also want to hang out with us some more, we do live stream. So twitch.tv/pass the pop culture. We are live every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Uh, well, we've been kind of having some earlier streams where we'll be getting on at like 1:30
Mhm.
ish, but typically 2 o'clock we're always on. We've been playing a lot of survival games. Come in, talk about it. Talk about the MCU. Do you agree or disagree with us? Drop a comment. Let us know. Do you think Marvel's going in a good or bad direction? Let us know. We're very interested to find out what people have to say. But yeah, you can also follow us on our social medias at Past the Pop Culture. Pretty much everything. And yeah, I think that covers everything. So thanks for listening, guys.
Bye.